it's me, Eloise, and today's video is brought to you by the number 5060, which is how many words my editor cut from my manuscript. Last week, I shared with you my beta reading experience, and this week, I'm going to share my editing process and what that looks like, as well as share the experience I had with my editor. A couple things before we get started. Last week's video had a lot of microphone noise, so I'm going to be holding my little microphone, and I've decided that once I reach 50 subscribers, I'm going to invest in a better microphone than this. Until then, I'm just going to hold it because I'm so sorry that you had to listen to all of that microphone noise. One other thing that I wanted to share, look at my spooky sweatshirt. They're dancing in the moonlight. Such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing in the moonlight. Jumping right in to my editing process and experience with my editor, I finished writing my rough draft sometime in mid-June, which gave me a couple of weeks between then and when my manuscript was due to my beta readers to go through and fix anything that I wanted to go back and revise. There are some writers that will go and edit as they write. I was trying to keep that to a minimum as I didn't want editing as I wrote to slow me down or get stuck on something. I wanted to finish the draft and then go back and fix something. This is the stage that I did some developmental edits. For those of you who don't know, the developmental edit is when the author goes through to fix big picture things related to the plot, characters, story structure, things like that. I finished those developmental edits, sent my manuscript off to the beta readers, and once I heard back from them, I started on edit number 2, which was to address points of concern that the beta readers brought up that I thought were valid. The primary 3 things that I did during that edit was flesh out some minor characters' backstories, write a prologue, and write an epilogue. Once I was done with that, I sent my manuscript off to my editor. I received the edited manuscript back from Brittany on October 9th. That contained a zip file with a guide on how to read the edits, a style sheet, and the manuscript itself was a Word document that had track changes turned on. Within the document, I could see the changes that she made, and then there were also a number of comments along the side of the document where she either had questions or concerns. That following week, I went through the document and accepted almost all of the changes that she made. I hired Brittany as a copy editor and line editor, and boy did she deliver. She meticulously reviewed my manuscript and made changes on a sentence level to improve the strength of sentences, paragraphs, and the story as a whole. All of the changes that she made were optional, and I could easily reject them, and sometimes I did. To be crystal clear, all of Brittany's feedback was valid and had great points. Once I finished going through the line edits, I then addressed the comments that she left. The comments ranged from questions that she had, suggestions of where to add tension, or I should add an action beat, or places that she was confused. And some of the comments were just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, or what? So that was fun to see too. I'm going to be honest. Once I got to the style sheet and I got to a certain part of her feedback, I was starting to question myself. When you work on a project this big for this long, you are going to have times where you think it's garbage, that you think you're garbage, that what am I even doing here? What is the point? I'm wasting all my money, I'm wasting all my time, this is just awful. There was about an 8-hour period of time where I was feeling really crummy, and it wasn't Brittany's fault. I know that Brittany is on my team. She's trying to back me up and trying to make my manuscript as strong and enticing as possible to make sure it's successful. It was my own fault. I was getting in my own head and just feeling very overwhelmed with a lot of things. Pro tip: when you are feeling that way and you are feeling that self-doubt, you need to have 2 or 3 people on standby to reach out to them proactively and say, hey, I'm feeling like trash. I need a pep talk. Please help me. Because the sooner you get a pep talk, the sooner they talk you back from this emotional spiral that you're going on, the sooner you're going to get out of it and you're going to be back into that, like, yes, I got this, let's do it. Being a big grown-up that I am, I was able to recognize that I was spiraling and it was not a healthy mental state that I was in and going down. I reached out to both my sister and to Brittany and said, hey, I'm feeling like all of this is pointless. I'm just a little trash raccoon trying to give other people trash and nobody's going to want it. Both of them talked me through it. We dug into it, we met the feeling where it was and identified why I was feeling that way. Being able to articulate this feeling to somebody and bring it out of your head and out of your heart makes it less heavy. And I was able to actually identify that it wasn't that I was doubting my manuscript itself, but I was very stressed out about the pressure that I was putting on myself to make sure that this book was as good as it possibly could be. Because this is the first book in a series, which I'm very excited about. And I'm so excited to write the rest of the series. But that means that if this book isn't good, nobody is going to read the rest of this series. It's just gonna be dead in the water. Honestly, it all came down to the fact that I didn't think my book blurb was very strong. Since I couldn't easily think of how to sell my book via TikTok, I came to the conclusion that it was trash. And that's not true. It's not trash. It's a great book. So that was my imposter syndrome self-doubt journey. It was very brief, and I highly recommend having somebody there to help you get through it, to keep your own self-doubt and imposter syndrome journey brief as well. And it doesn't matter if you're a writer or what, anything. And if you need somebody, you know where I'm at. You comment down below and I'm gonna be your hype woman. Once I was properly re-hyped, I scheduled a post-edit call to go over my edited manuscript with Brittany and address any questions that I had, and also dig deeper into some of this feedback that was initially making me think that it wasn't a good book. That call happened on Friday the 20th, and it was 2.5 hours long, and it was fantastic. There wasn't so many questions as it was more of a brainstorming session. I walked away from that call with a nice little to-do list of action steps. And that was one of the things that was causing me to kind of flounder before, is I wasn't really sure what to do. She wasn't going to edit this again. All of the changes that I make from here on out are only going to be self-edited and then run through the proofreading process. Now we're on draft 4, where I am implementing the feedback and the tips and suggestions that Brittany has given me. I'm going to be tweaking dialogue. I am going to be adding dialogue, sprinkling little bits here and there to really make this thing as strong as possible. If you're excited to learn about the next steps and you haven't done so already, please go subscribe to my monthly newsletter, because November's newsletter is when I announce the release date to my subscribers. Everybody else is gonna have to wait, but you are going to know what date to circle on your calendar for when this thing comes out. If you're interested in keeping up to date on my writing and publishing journey, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. You are one of my favorite people. And I know I say that every single time, but seriously, you've been sitting here watching me talk about something that's really important to me, and I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate that. That's all I have for you this week. Next week, I'll be sharing my October wrap-up video. I cannot believe it's already almost the end of October. What are you going to be for Halloween? Share in the comments down below. I can't wait to see all the pictures. Bye! Do you like writing?
Yes, I like writing.
Do you like mythology?
Yes, I like mythology.
Do you like my videos?
Yes, I like your videos.
Then what are you waiting for? Subscribe.